A few months ago, my wife's car started making this weird kind of shuddering motion when you accelerate the car. So you're stationary at traffic lights, you ease into the accelerator, and then nothing happens, and then it kind of punches you and it kind of gives you the power. And so, for a few months there, I thought, okay, we need to get this checked. It started getting worse and worse and worse. It got to a point where I rang my mechanic and I said, look, man, I think there's something wrong with the transmission. I'm going to bring the car around. You have a look, see if there's any kind of oil that needs to be kind of replaced or something like that. You have a look at the transmission. I reckon that's what's happening. I'll go over there, drop the car off. He calls me back a few hours later. He says, mate, it's not your transmission at all. I drove the car around the block and this is an engine mount problem. I said, an engine mount problem? He said, yeah, your engine mounts are basically metal on metal. So there's nothing basically from the engine to where the engine is sitting, which is metal on metal, right? And fair enough, he replaced the engine mounts, I picked the car up, and the car is running smooth as anything. Now, when you accelerate, even the slightest touch, there is power delivery to the drivetrain, and then off you go, right? So there's no kind of shuddering at all. And so how did he know that? Well, the man's been a mechanic for a long time, and he's had probably lots of Ivans come in and be like, hey, dude, you need to do this, the other, and he knows better. He tries it himself. And he knows exactly what's going on, what are the symptoms are. So he knows the symptoms of the problem. How do you know that? How do you know if something is going to work? Well, it's trial and error. If you don't have a textbook, if you don't get taught by somebody, it's trial and error. What I'm doing with my weightlifting journey is pretty much trial and error. One of my favorite methods of working out, if something is going to do the thing that I want it to do, fix a problem, or make this particular movement better, is what I like to do is I like to do that particular thing, do the treatment, do this exercise, do this movement, do whatever you want to do, whatever you think is going to help, do it, and then immediately after, go and do the exercise, which is your tester. For instance, I want to improve my squat. What exercises improve the squat? Well, I've tried many. One of the things I'm doing right now is front squats. I go do front squats. I work up to a comfortable training max. I do a few sets there. And then I go back to my back squats and I see what's happening. Not only that, but after my back squats, I do my deadlifts and see what happens. So ever since I've introduced these front squats, what I've realized is that I'm quite very much weaker in both the back squat and the front squat because I'm getting exhausted by the front squat. So the front squats are making me weaker in the back squat and the deadlift. Now, what does that mean? That means whatever I'm doing, whatever this treatment is, the front squat, is actually working. It's making me weaker, which means it's going to make me stronger. Say you say to yourself, I reckon the biceps are a freaking primary mover in the squat. And I reckon if I pump my biceps, the squat is going to blow up through the ceiling. It's going to go 300 overnight. Yeah, it's just massive. All you need is a massive freaking bicep pump. And here we come. Everyone's going to know I've got 300 kilo squat. So what you would do? You will go and you run your hour-long freaking bicep curling marathon, and then immediately after that, you will get under the bar and see what it does to the squat. Immediately after. So you've just demolished one of these prime movers that you believe to be a prime mover. Go and test the squat. Work up to a comfortable training max. And if you're like me and you're squatting every single day, you pretty much know what 100 kilos should feel like, what 140, 160, 200 kilos, what it all feels like on a day-to-day basis. And if after this marathon of bicep curling and freaking short head, long head destruction, if you go to the squat and you basically are unfazed and you squat like you did nothing, you can make a conclusion pretty safely that this thing that you just did has not affected, and it's not going to improve the squat because you've just put it through a ringer and it has not affected your movement. With the front squat, however, last few days I've noticed, okay, so I'm doing 140. That's kind of my top set. Yesterday I did 5 singles. Today I did 1 single because I don't feel I have that integrity in my thoracic spine anymore. I was starting kind of to get rounding. So I've stopped it there. I've done lots and lots of reps. 10 sets of 10 with the bar. 5 fives with 60. 5 singles with 100 kilos, 120 and 140. That was yesterday. Today the only difference was the 140 was just the 1 set. And what I found was my deadlift numbers have dipped considerably. I'm not doing any volume in the back squat. I'm not doing any volume with pretty much anything. And I feel in my movement, the way I move through space attached to the bar, that something has changed. Now, I feel freaking amazing when I'm going through the squat and the deadlift, but I feel like there's been a decrease in my performance. So you can make a conclusion, I feel, that the front squat is going to contribute both to the back squat and the deadlift. I've said this in the past. I said it yesterday. Man, yesterday I said I was going to wake up today with sore traps. And what do you know? Very sore traps. I actually had trouble today doing my back squat because I didn't know where to freaking put the bar because it was really, really sore. I don't understand exactly why the front squat destroys these upper traps. Like literally the muscle, the portion of the muscle that you would kind of get smashed if you did shrugs. So the trap is a major muscle. It's like a diamond shape. It goes basically from your middle of your back all the way to your neck and kind of fans out to your shoulders. It's a big muscle. And so there's upper traps, there's middle traps, there's lower traps. I don't know why, but upper traps get smoked. I think it's because you are kind of extending or flexing the shoulder. So you're kind of like raising your elbows up into the air. It's constantly a fight. I don't know what's going on, man, but it's like I said to somebody today in the gym, if you want to hit your traps, do front squats. And the guy was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I know it doesn't make any sense. I just stumbled upon this, man. Like I didn't, it makes no sense to me, but it does. It literally does. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, whether I'm leaning too far forward in the front squat or what's going on, but he just absolutely smashes me. I can do shrugs day and night. I can do barbell, dumbbell. I can do whatever you want. Nothing gets me like front squats. Now, I haven't done every single freaking exercise under the sun for traps, but in my little kind of experience, front squats are the best. Not only do they smash the traps, but they do a lot to the core as well. I don't think the reason why I'm weaker after doing front squats in the back squat and the deadlift, I don't think it's all related to the traps. That's clearly not the case. It's just I feel weaker. I think the core gets taxed like nobody's business. And when I go back to the back squat, I feel much weaker. You'll see my 200 kilo today. I was kind of like tippy-toeing around it. Basically, like there was no bounce at the bottom. It was basically like a pause. It wasn't like a purposeful pause, but I didn't feel like I was, I guess, strong enough to bounce out of the hole. So it was a really slow descent, really slow ascent. And when I see that, I know for a fact in me that I am not really strong in the core on that day. And I'm not strong in the core on that day because of the front squats. Front squats are amazing. They're going to basically address all of my issues, it seems. They do my upper back. They get my quads stronger, which is going to translate, theoretically, it's going to translate into a better leg drive in the deadlift. So that's 2 points for the front squat. It's going to improve the core stability, thoracic extension, which is another thing that the deadlift is going to benefit from. And I think all of those things that I've pointed out for the deadlift carry over for the squat as well. Today I managed to hit 200 like I said, but it was not a confident thing at all. It was very much a shaky old thing. But anyway, I got 200 today. The 190 you'll see in a second. The 190 kind of went all right. But because I had this, I don't know, I had this integrity, core integrity, the thing moved damn slow, but I felt confident in a weird way. But at the same time, I felt weaker. Anyway, I probably shouldn't have tried 200 after 190, but I did. Then I move on to the deadlift. The deadlift, I did 230 today. I think I did 230. Yeah, I did 230 today. And what I noticed on the playback is that the bar got away from me again. He got away from me. Now, I don't know whether that's as a result of me basically doing back almost every day now. I think, did I do it yesterday? I did some sets yesterday. I've been doing T-bar rows, a neutral grip, pronated grip, wide, narrow. I've kind of been messing around with it. I've got that pull-over machine, which a fella in the gym today kind of pointed out how to do it a bit better. Instead of putting my elbows on the pads, he just basically said, get your elbows off the pads and just use your hands. So I did that today. Although in the footage that I'm going to show you, me doing that pull-over, that was kind of before I got that advice. So I'm still kind of using the elbows as kind of the push on the machine. That machine is incredible. A bunch of you guys have said, if you got this machine, you should freaking throw a party, celebrate, because it's one of those epic old school machines, which for some reason gyms don't have anymore. But the fellow that was telling me about this machine and how to do it. He was like, Dorian Yates was big on it. It's one of those golden era, bodybuilding era. One of the fan favorites of them. So that's a concern for me. It's definitely a focus for me. I want to get the lats stronger. I want to get the traps stronger. I feel like I'm a bodybuilder. I'll do my front squats, back squats, deadlifts. And then after that, I literally feel like I'm fitting in with most of the crowd in the gym, which is kind of mostly a bodybuilding. Doing sets of 10 of all these machines and whatnot. But it feels good. It feels like I'm feeling out my lats and my traps. Definitely feel them right now. Deadlifts and T-bar rows are the magic. The same fella that told me about how to do the pullovers, he mentioned you should probably do some sort of, pull-up variation. Then we started talking about, whether lats get more engagement for me kind of on the vertical pull versus a horizontal pull. I might go down the path of doing some lat pull-down machine and really try and focus on using the lats and not the biceps. The reason why I've stopped doing pull-ups, a bunch of you guys have also pointed this out, is that it seems to me when I do pull-ups, it's too much of teres minor and major, too much that upper back armpit kind of muscle, and not enough lower down. And I've tried to kind of cue myself to pull my lats, but no matter what I do, when I get to the top, my shoulders rise. I kind of let the tension bleed out from the lats, and that whole bicep teres major kind of motion kicks in, and then I basically lose the whole point of doing it. Like, I have to emphasize, I'm not doing this for SARS, I'm not doing this for bodybuilding, I'm doing this for a reason, to put strength in my back so I can deadlift better. It's a very, very focused goal for me. It's not just whatever, man, just bang out any sort of exercise, mass is mass. I'm not after that. I'm very much performance, as you guys know, functional kind of goal. And that was basically the workout. I did the pullovers today. Tomorrow I'm going to come in, I'll do T-bar rows. So I'm kind of, I guess, now that I'm on holidays, I can afford to do all this sort of stuff every day and spend damn near 2 hours today in the gym. Just messing around, thinking all these things through. I'm basically treating the gym kind of like my garage. I'm just walking around, looking at machines, thinking about planes of motion, tension, and how to get better at that. Kind of retraction, not so much, but more so depression. But the front squats have zapped me. So for whatever, if you've got a bench press idea, if you've got a deadlift idea, if you've got a squat idea, if you have a fleeting thought and you're like, I wonder if this exercise is going to benefit me in some way, all you got to do it is before the actual exercise, do the exercise before your main movement and see what it does. If you end up weaker, that's good. It's done something to you. Good. So if you're not weaker, then it hasn't done anything for you. It hasn't taken away from that particular movement, which means, in my opinion, it hasn't really done much. It's not going to carry over for you. So a lot of these exercises people have, and these ideas, and me included, I thought a whole bunch of things. I remember at one point I thought it was about calves. I don't know if you guys remember that start of the year. I thought strong calves means strong squat. So I would literally, pump out all these freaking sets in the seated calf machine, and then I would go over to the squat and hit my daily max like I never did anything. The only thing that kind of makes sense in that scenario is that the bit of a pump that I get, or the crazy pump that I get in my calves, kind of put blood in the area and elongated my calves to a degree and made better dorsiflexion possible. But still, the squat that I did on that day was exactly the same as the day before where I didn't do calves. So it's not a direct carryover, if that makes sense. But I've had all these type of different ideas. I've had hamstrings. So I would do hamstrings. I would do like 10 sets of freaking 10 or 10 sets of 20 I've done with, obviously lightweight. Smoke the hell out of them. Go over to the squat and hit 200. So, what do you conclude about that? Well, clearly the hamstrings are not prime movers. They might contribute, like I always say, to mobility and lengthening of that muscle so you can get down to a good depth without rounding, without the butt wink. But in terms of contributing force to the bar so you can kind of squat more, it doesn't make sense that would be the case, because I've just completely smashed that muscle and I can still hit the same number like I haven't hit that muscle. So, you would have to, logic would serve that this muscle is not involved in the movement all that much. However, If you go and completely freaking destroy your quads, you know, do 50 million sets of quads, just completely destroy it, and then you go to the squats, you're going to be, you know, flickering, you're going to be shuddering, you're going to be very, very shaky in the squat. Why? Well, because the quads are one of the main dudes involved in this whole party. Same with the glutes. If you completely smash the hell out of your glutes with hip thrusts, with lunges, with whatever you want to do, and then you go to a squat, you're going to be shaky and your top end power is going to probably be decreased. So, and that makes sense, right? Same with the adductors. I've messed around with adductors in the past. If you really properly smash your adductors and then you go to a squat, you will feel okay with light weights. You kind of feel like you can get at the bottom of a squat quite well, but anything heavy, you feel the instability, you feel the fatigue, you feel the insecurity in that muscle. You just can't take it anymore. So this is one method that I've kind of used in the past. That method, and also the method of, this is kind of like more, you know, different kind of goal. But if you want to know what a certain exercise hits, and you haven't done it, you know, you've never done it, or you haven't done it for a long time, do it. And the first day that you do it, go bonkers. Absolutely do, like completely overtrain. Because the following day and the next day in the 48 hours kind of window, you will see what's sore. Okay, you will feel it. And then that way you will know, oh, okay, so these are the muscles that exercise has done. So these two little methods I've kind of used throughout this whole training period of squat every day, even before. Those two things I continuously use. And, you know, my mind races on all the time thinking about biomechanics, muscle insertions, origins, you know, what's involved, what isn't involved, what's the piece of the puzzle which I need to solve right now to get one step ahead. So these type of thoughts are always kind of happening, and it's really easy, thank God. It's really easy to test. You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need a board of ethics. You don't need 50 subjects to run a freaking double-blind controlled trial, research study. You just need you and everything that you have available to you, which is plates and barbell, and you can run these experiments. You don't need anything. So I continuously use this thinking, and today and yesterday I was like, man, I don't know what it is, but these front squats, they're making me feel good, but they're taking quite a lot of strength at the top end. Today 200 moved like, I said to my cameraman, I felt like he freaking moved like it was 300. Obviously I can't do 300, but it felt really slow, felt very, very sticky. I probably shouldn't have done it because it was too hard, way too hard for what I want to do on a daily basis. But I'm going to try and do front squats every day now. I'm going to try and mess with them. They're going to be my primary focus. That, and also the back work that I do after all the exercises, and the back squat and the deadlift are purely in mix for practice purposes, practicing my craft, practicing my skill, making sure that my body knows what's up. My body knows that we're doing all of this crap to get you two guys better, the back squat and the deadlift. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.